All right, guys. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today we're going to be looking at the different forms of government, which is autocracy, oligarchy, and democracy. Okay. We're going to critique the importance and the effectiveness between direct and representative democracy. And we're going to develop a logical argument on whether the rich and powerful should run our country. Okay. Now, here is your warm up picture. Let me raise my little video thing. There it is. All right. So, here's the thing the warm up question's asking you, what is this artist trying to say about the people living above? And what about the people living below? So, look at how each group is living their life, you know, and explain how is the top living, how is the bottom living, you know. Also, as a little tiny bonus, um, like I said in class, the artists for the bottom people says there's 7 things that's holding them down, and he puts all 7 of them on there. See if you can find them. Okay, see if you can find them. Again, but that's not the question. The question is asking you, what is the artist trying to say about the people living on top and the people living on the bottom? That's the question. And the other one with the 7 things, it's just a little fun thing. See if you can spot all 7. Little challenge. Okay. So, uh, pause the video, write your response, okay, because we're moving on in three, two, one. So, there are 3 major types of government. Okay. There's autocracy, oligarchy, and democracy. Okay. Think of them like filing cabinets. You know, when you open a filing cabinet, there's other files inside. Think of it like that because each one has different forms of government inside their own, system. Okay. So, for example, autocracy is any system of government where the power and authority rest with one person. Okay. Now, if I was to tell you guys, think of a world leader who controlled their entire government, everything, the army and everything. Think of one historical person like that. They controlled everything in their government. And chances are you probably thought of Hitler. Okay? Pretty good chance. So Hitler was a totalitarian dictator. Okay? Some people say he was an absolute dictator. Sure, both of them are correct. Okay? Now, what does that mean? Well, a totalitarian dictator is a person who runs their entire government and they basically glorify themselves. They kind of make themselves as godly. So you would see like paintings of Hitler where he has the flag, his chest is out, he's looking like he's so strong. But in reality, no, he was a weak, frail little man, you know. But the images, the posters that they put all around Germany and all of Nazis Germany was him looking strong and big and powerful, and he wasn't. Okay. Now, what else is a form of autocracy is a monarchy. A monarchy is when there's a king, queen, or emperor. Now, here's the thing, because I've had some students ask me, well, isn't a dictator and an emperor and a king basically the same thing? No, no. This is how you can tell the difference. But the king, queen, emperor, a lot of times they get their power from a bloodline. You know, their dad, mom, uncle, aunt, somebody was king or queen, and then they passed away, and then they became king or queen. And then when they pass away, either the crown's going to go to their children or niece, nephew, something like that. But it's still going to be within a certain bloodline. Uh, Dictators, they don't have a bloodline. It's all about them. You know, uh, they take by force and things like that. So, yeah, okay, that's the difference. Now, in the monarchy, with the king, queen, and emperor, there's 2 types. One is the absolute monarchy, which is where the king, queen, emperor, whoever it may be, has total power, unlimited power. Okay, they are the ruler, king, queen, things like that. The other thing is kind of basically what Britain has right now. They have the king, queen, and stuff like that, but those king, queen don't have actual power. That rests with the prime minister and their parliament, the House of the Commons, House of the Lords, and basically the king, queen are just ceremonial. The King Charles can't say, "Hey, I want new taxes. I want this. I want that." Parliament would be like, "Oh, that's good, Grandpa. Go back to to your little castle." He doesn't have much power. You know, he really doesn't when it comes to making laws and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what they have right now, a constitutional monarch. Now, an oligarchy is a system of government where a small group of people holds the power. Now, how big does the group have to be? I mean, it could be anywhere from, let's say, 50 to like five, you know, just depends. Now, where does this power come from? Well, it's a combination of things, or it could be just one of these things: wealth, so money; military power, how many soldiers and people are willing to fight for them; and social position. Some people, especially back in the day, were like, "Oh, you're the first families to ever, claim this territory," and things like that. Back then, that actually meant something. Nowadays, it's like, "Oh, my family were the first people here in this town." Good, great. What do you want, a cookie? I mean, what's that got to do with anything? You know. So back then it did mean something. Nowadays it doesn't really mean much. So again, money, military power, social status, or a combination. Now, we have had certain governments in the past based off this stuff. So like we had an aristocracy, which is the people who ruled the country were of nobility. So people who, again, their families were the first families to ever settle in this country or town or whatever it may be. You know, that's an aristocracy. A plutocracy is ruled by who has the most money. So the more money you have, the more power you have in that country. Okay. So let's say I had $1 billion, right? I'm the most wealthiest person. I would have the most power. But then let's say somebody else invented something and now they have $2 billion. They would overshadow me and they would get more power and I would lose my power. Maybe not all of it, but a good chunk of it. Because now, hey, there's somebody worth more. Now, here's the thing: autocracy and oligarchy, those forms of government give the illusion to the people that we're here for you. We're doing this for you. And in reality, no, they're not. You know, Sometimes, like, they would tell the people, when the people start getting angry and this and that at them, they'd be like, "Oh, why are you getting mad for? Look at. Check this out. Okay, so you remember that castle you guys built me, right? Look at that. You got a job. You had a purpose. You did that. You built that with your hands. You can then now look and say, "Hey, I made that. I helped build that thing." And that's something you should be proud of. See how they trying to flip that? It's like, well, that worker, is he ever going to go in that house and stay the night? No. Is he even allowed on the premises once the thing's built? No. So why should he be proud? You know, it's not for him. So that's the thing. Those type of leaders and those type of governments try to give the solution to the people that they're there for them and what they're doing is best for the people and not for themselves. In reality, it's all for those people, the rich people, the ones in power. It's for them, not for the everyday person. So then we come to our form of government, which is democracy. Okay. Democracy is a form of government that is ruled by the people. I mean, literally, it means uh, ruled by the people. So if you remember your Greek root words, demos means the people, and kratia means rule. So literally, democratia, democracy, means the people rule. Okay. Now, there's two forms of democracy. There's direct and representative. Direct is basically the people govern themselves by voting on issues individually. Okay. Problem with this is there's too many people in this country. The government can't be like, hey, should we go to war with, let's say, Russia? Everyone cast your vote by 7 p.m. tonight. We have 270 some million registered voters. It's going to take a while to count those votes, you know? So, yeah, there is no country that has this type of system of government like that, but there are small towns that have this. Towns that have like 100 and some people. Yeah, they'll have like, hey, should we build a road over here or should we fix these roads over here? They can vote on it because, hey, it's easier to count 100 people than it is 270 million, you know? So that gives us what we have, a representative government. We elect people to represent us and we give them the power to make laws and do things that help us. You know, it's not meant to help them, it's meant to help us. And this is in every form of the government. Um, the local level, you know, in the city, uh, the state, and the federal government. Okay, we vote for people to represent us at each of those levels. Okay, now, like I said in class, sometimes these people don't represent you well, and that's fine. You know what? Cool. Because in the next election, you can vote them out. You don't have to vote for them. You can vote for somebody else, and somebody else is willing to take their job. Trust me, somebody is. So you just vote for that other person. Now, in this country, in the democracy, the majority rules. Now, it could be a standard majority or a simple majority. A standard majority is 2/3. Okay. A simple majority is 51%. It's just barely over half. So you may hear in the news, hey, this law just passed with a simple majority. That's what they're talking about. It barely passed. It barely got to like 51, maybe 52%, you know. So it didn't get the full-fledged standard um, majority. Now, things you may be wondering, well, if the majority rules in this country, how come people back then didn't like keep the power that they have or get rid of um, certain people or take away their rights and stuff like that? Well, they tried. They really did try. But that's what makes our Constitution unique and amazing. The Constitution prevents tyranny from happening. It prevents people in power to take away the rights of the regular Joes, the regular schmoes, the minority group of people. And like I said, there were in the 1800s and things like that, 1900s, where people try to take the rights of other people away. Even now, there are people who are trying to make sure that our country is one religion, you know, and that's not going to fly. That's not going to work, you know. And they're going to try to uh, shame people into it, be like, oh, what, you don't believe in God? Oh, it's like, yeah, but you know, other people have gods too. You know, people worship different gods. Some people don't worship any gods. That's their choice. That's what makes this country so great. You know, but again, like I said, those people are gonna try to trick you, try to make you feel guilty, and do that stuff and stuff so you could follow them and you'll do what they say. Okay, you got to be careful with people like that. Now, here's the thing: can the government take away your rights? Yes, they can. Under certain circumstances. Now, I hate to tell the story, but it happened. My boy Lincoln, during the Civil War in the 1860s, He suspended the writ of habeas corpus. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's that? Habeas corpus is, if you've ever seen a courtroom show, some of that, when someone gets arrested, they're read their rights, they're put in jail, they come out of jail to face the judge. And there, at the first meeting, they'll say, do you plead innocent or guilty? They'll say whatever they say, innocent, guilty, whatever it may be. They will then ask the prosecution, what about bail? They might say, hey, this person's charged with killing 48 people. Well, heck no, no bail. Keep them in jail, because, hey, that person's a danger to society. So they'll keep that person in jail. But if it's someone stealing a couple Twinkies from a convenience store, the judge is going to be like, well, okay, that's small crime. So, hey, $1,000 bail, which you only need to put up 10% to get out. That whole process, that was habeas corpus. You have a chance to stand before a judge, plead innocent and guilty, have a chance to get out on bail, and it's out in public where people can see it and hear it. What's happened, and stuff like that. What's the process going on? Without habeas corpus, the cops can just arrest you, charge you, and keep you in jail for as long as they want. So Lincoln could be like, yeah, those guys, I'm keeping them in jail for the next 10 years until I feel that they should come out. You know, that's the kind of stuff kings did back in the day. But the reason he did is because Southern sympathizers, people who felt that, that African Americans should be slaves, were in Maryland and Philadelphia and trying to convince people that, yeah, African Americans should be slaves. So he's like, arrest those people, you know, arrest them. So yeah, those guys were held in jail for the longest time. Okay. So with that being said, guys, hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. So you guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.